All right, guys. Dreadnought's back today with a new review, and we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars The Black Series Finn here in Stormtrooper gear, or better known as FN-2187. Looking pretty cool here in the package. A few accessories, that same kind of artwork that we've seen on the Black Series recently with Finn and his Stormtrooper armor there. Nothing much going on the side over here. On this side, we can see he's number 17 from the wave, and then a look at the back of the box and a short bio that reads, after his first taste of combat during a brutal First Order night assault on a Jakku village, Stormtrooper FN-2187 defects from Kylo Ren's forces, becoming a fugitive. So let's crack this bad boy open and get a look at it. All right, and here's our Finn out of the package, and just looking incredible overall. I think Hasbro did a very nice job with this figure. That same attention to detail and sculpting in the Stormtrooper armor, and I love the look of that on the character in the movie, and I think it played out really nice in figure form. The one thing that just caught my eye right out of the package was this much improved head sculpt of Finn, and I'm already plotting ways to get that on the previous version and maybe picking up an extra one of these to do so, and then some nice attention to detail on the helmet as well. So let's take a closer look at everything. And getting in here close and taking a look at these accessories, nothing really new here on the blaster rifle. Same sculpt we saw with the Stormtrooper, which I do like it. I think it's a very nice sculpt overall. A lot of nice little details in there, and some very nice paint apps on here, the black and all the white, and then the silver paint apps down the side and around the scope. Looking very nice overall. You know, I just think it's a very nice piece. I love the look of the blaster rifle. And then he also comes with the blaster pistol. Paint apps get a little bit wonky on here. You can see some fading out of the white and the black over it. Looks like they tried to give it some silver paint apps, but they're not great on there. Just right underneath that clip there. You know, it gets a little wonky down here, but I like the sculpt on it. You know, nicely detailed, and it does fit on the side of his leg, just like we saw with the Stormtrooper. You know, fits in snugly, no issues really with that, you know, overall. And then the helmet, the first thing I noticed with the helmet is that it's made out of a much softer plastic than what we saw with the Han and Luke helmet with their Stormtrooper gear. You know, and it's really smooth in here, so that actually may allow for less rub with the softness of the plastic. It just catches you off guard at how squishable it is. But I like the sculpt on it. You know, matches the Stormtroopers really well. You know, all that nice detail with the lines and everything sculpted around the helmet, and that texture down through the front visor and everything. You know, scuff mark over there. You know, and it's got some silver paint apps on the front there. The paint gets a little bit wonky. You can see a little bit of white right there in the front, and it gets off. And then it's got those blood streaks with the hands or whatever, you know, the fingers running down, which I think came out pretty nice. I like the color of red they used. You know, it's not too bright, but it's not, you know, too dark. You know, it looks like, you know, it's about giving the time that maybe in the scene where he's with Phasma, you know, that pretty much is that same look, I guess I would say. You know, but overall, just really nice. You know, fits on his head very smoothly, no issues at all. And then you don't see any, you know, real skin under there. A little bit, you know, looking underneath, but just looking at him dead on, you can't tell it's really a helmet on there. So I like that. You know, it came out really nice overall. So I like that piece. And then taking that off and just getting a closer look in here at the figure. You know, overall, I think the head sculpt on Finn came out really nice. Like I said, it's just a huge improvement over what we saw last time. I definitely see the likeness of the actor in there. The eyes came out pretty good, pretty straight. Excuse me, but there is a little bit too much brown on this left eye. You know, and that's probably just mine. But definitely like the texture in the hair. Came out nicely sculpted. Very clean paint apps all around. The eyebrows came out very clean. And then looking down through the armor, you know, nothing much new here. With the armor, we saw this attention to detail on the Stormtroopers. You know, the nice black paint apps there on the white. You know, all very clean. Down through the belt. You know, around the arms. You know, I love these gloves with the black fingers. You know, it gets a little bit off right here with the black on that one. You know, this one's pretty clean overall. Well, a little bit off on that one as well. But other than the gloves, you know, the paint looks pretty clean overall. No real issues. You know, looking through the back here, you know, nicely sculpted, and you know, all these pouches and the ribbing around the belt and everything. You know, just really no issues with the paint and everything. It just looks good. Peg holes at the bottom feet, a little bit of tread down there as well. You know, nothing new we haven't seen here before. with the Stormtrooper. It is a little bit different, and we'll compare the two here in a moment. But just overall, just really nice sculpting and paint. And taking a look at articulation, the head moves up a decent amount. It is hindered by the back of the neck here, so it's about as far up as you can get him. And then you can bury all the way down to the chest plate. Rotates around just fine. No real pivot in there. The arms are those you have to push down to get the armor up, but they can move out actually a pretty good bit, even with the armor plating up here. Rotate all the way around. Has that single jointed elbow that does swivel around. The wrists do swivel, and then they do have a hinge, and it is the up and down. It is not the roll of the dice. This one over here, I would have thought it had the roll of the dice, but it actually is the up and down as well. And then looking at the waist, no rotation at the waist. It has that diaphragm pivot, and then rotates there as well, and allows for some crunch like so. It is very loose though on this one compared to like the Stormtroopers and stuff. That's really loose. I'm doing that with one finger, so that's a little weird that it can move that freely, but it could be because it looks like they dropped the bigger piece down to maybe shorten them up a little bit, and that could be why. Again, no waist rotation. The legs do move out about that far, and they're hindered by the belt and then these plates up in here, but that's about as good as you can get. They kick out pretty far like so. Kicks back a decent amount as well. It does have that upper leg rotation a little bit tight on this side. This one moves fine, and it does hinder, going around with the plate like so. Has double jointed knees, work really well, and then the feet have that hinge that will hinge all the way down like so, and then up like so, and then it does have that nice ankle pivot as well. And doing some quick comparisons here, we've got Finn on the right compared to our First Order Stormtrooper here on the left, and you can see Finn definitely looks a little beefier, and it's really from where they dropped him down here. You can see this torso is definitely shorter. This piece here has been dropped down with a much shorter abdomen, and this one's more extended on this side. And we saw this before when they did the Luke and the Stormtrooper gear. It looks like they used the same process to get Finn shorter, but I think it works well because Finn was a little bulkier in the movie and the Stormtrooper gear. And then looking at the helmets as well, this helmet's just a little bit bigger than this one, but not a huge amount. It's definitely not sticking out, so I think they did a great job with that overall. And our Finn here is measuring in right under 6 inches tall, maybe an eighth short of that. So yeah, I think it came out pretty well in scale. And after some magic head swapping, you can see our Stormtrooper Finn head over here on the left now, and our original Finn head is on our Stormtrooper over here on the right now. And I really like the way these guys came out, swapping them out like so. Definitely use heat when doing this. The head that came on the Stormtrooper figure is just really tough to get off, so definitely use a hairdryer or whatever before trying to swap these guys out to avoid breaking your figure. But I gotta say, my original plan was to buy maybe an extra one of these guys and just use this improved head sculpt, and I still say this is a much better head sculpt, but honestly I like the way these look like this, and this head sculpt doesn't look so bad on the Stormtrooper. My only question is does the helmet fit? So let's try that out. Awesome, that fits perfectly. So yeah, I think I may leave mine. And here's our Finn compared to General Hux on the left and Captain Phasma on the right. And you can tell he's definitely coming up shorter than both of them. And lastly, here he is next to a couple other guys that like to wear Stormtrooper armor. And wrapping up real quickly, overall, I got to say, I think Hasbro did a very nice job with this figure. It would have been easy enough for Hasbro just to slap the old head sculpt on the old Stormtrooper sculpt and give us this version of the character. And quite frankly, I would have paid $20 down for it and wouldn't have really said much, because I do like the look of the character in the Stormtrooper armor. And I think Hasbro went the extra mile by giving us a new head sculpt. I hope they keep this head sculpt and use it for future versions of the character. I think it came out really nice, and it definitely has the look of the actor. And I think Hasbro really did well by giving us that. If I really just had to complain about something on the figure, it would be the lack of double jointed elbows that I complain about all Black Series. But other than that, really, there's a few paint issues. A little bit too much brown on that eye, a little bit of black that got off on the gloves, and just a little bit of white on the helmet, and that is just getting really nitpicky. Other than that, I really have no issues with the figure at all, and I definitely am glad to have it in my collection. So I definitely rate the figure a buy. If you can find it, definitely snatch it up. Walmart's been the easiest of late but they are getting them sporadically, so definitely keep an eye out for them. You know, I don't really recommend paying aftermarket prices because they just keep popping up. I've seen this guy circulate 2 or 3 times in my local Walmart, so just keep your eyes peeled, and I'm sure Toys R Us and Target and those will be getting them shortly as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If so, please give me a big thumbs up. Facebook, Twitter, Toy Art, links in the description below as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you soon.